obviously you would have had made a lot of money, as typically a lot of people do that in UP and especially in the forest services. Uncompromising integrity, keep on, never give it up, and also be collaborative and take everybody along. With three values which I'll cherish, enjoy, and live till the time I have my own last breath.
Sakshi, over to you.
Well, I just have one question. Like you said that you managed a very big team under you. So, sir, like most of the just like we talk about recent times, like in COVID-19, many of the people lost hope in what they are working. They see the disappointment ahead. So, sir, how are you able to manage your team and keep them motivated for so long to keep them
Yeah,
working?
so not very relevant at this point of time because I have left
Like, sir, I know,
Vodafone,
yeah.
and
So, sir, I'm just asking,
I am
like,
more
what
like
would
a
you do if you were in that position?
right. So I think basically it is that, and that's a very good question. That you have to tell people that uh, business is waiting for you. Okay, not that people are waiting for you. So there is a strong myth which is going on that layoff will happen, and there will be some stupid company, if I may be using a hard word, they will people will lay off. But how about when the work will start working in itself? I mean, it's basically Basant. Somebody said Basant guy who was in stock exchange broker. He said if somebody is able to survive for 6 to 8 months in stock exchange broker, he will be the one who's going to be major beneficiary. And same lies with the company. Business is waiting for them, not the people. People do business, and therefore you have to give that feeling that you all are safe. Okay, it is that you need to be productive and support business. You need to find out a working model. Okay, you tell us what the transformation model will be. And this again, same thing, what is coming from Idea Seller, that you give the empowerment to the people, you trust people, they will come with a solution to making sure that how it is going to be. You can make tons of the PowerPoint, you can make tons of the creativity ideas, you can be very structured as you would want to, but nothing will happen if people are not owning what the business on transformation model will be. So if I would be operation head in Vodafone, I will give that empowerment to say, let's little structured, let's get the idea from people and structure it in a way that people start believing that that's the model, it is coming from them. So that is one point. The second point is, I think, which is important, is that we have to really challenge people and tell them that essentially what was working in the past is not going to work for today and tomorrow. So ability to challenge and question them and say that try to unlearn what you have learned and start with a new and fresh era. So if you want to take time and don't want to work for 2 days, it's okay. But try to start with a fresh, transformation. Understand what has happened, what is that relevant for you, and then start making your own transformation journey. If you make your start transformation journey for yourself, you'll be able to guide your team. So it is like making a chain impact and then living and breathing with that. That is the second part. The third part is, I think, which is most important, is that alignment with the business goals. So people may say that I'm doing a super duper guy, and but like for example, if the data has gone to 35% growth, and if I'm only having a 70,000 terabyte per day usage, and I'm having a capacity of only 90,000 terabyte, and the growth will be 35% growth, I have to work out a model. I can crib about, that I need capex, I need people, but it's not the ground reality. So you need to find out an innovative model by which, whether it is a feature, whether it is a dynamic sharing, or it could be multiple innovation model. So that's where I think you need to start challenging people to make sure that they understand the grid, share a bigger picture. That's what Sanjeev Aga used to do. Then in Motorola, people at the town hall used to do, share a bigger picture, share and trigger the innovation model. Sam Petroda did in C dot that he said that if you develop in 100 days a C dot exchange 128 days, which was like an impossible task, I will promise you that I'll give you a 5-star treatment. And people really jumped on it. So that is what I would have done, that 100 days program, develop this, give me 35% capacity, and I will promise you that I will give you what you guys are looking forward. Don't be afraid of losing a job. It is
Rohit,
more like a ability. And that's what I would have done. Three things, basically. Sorry, you were saying, Hanuman?
Rohit,
Yeah, sure.
Rohit,
So,
questions?
Arvindji,
Yeah.
very incredible and inspiring journey. I mean, I'm sure. I mean, a lot of our viewers will learn a lot from what you have shared. So, a very simple question to start with. जैसे आप बोलते हैं कि you keep happening, you keep happening. So, what was the most difficult project where you had to hammer it out most in your entire such a long career? सबसे challenging कौन सा project था जो आपने किया जो अभी भी it runs fever कि आपने वो कैसे किया मतलब I mean like you want to learn about it.
So that's a very good question, and I have a real good example. I did that in Airtel. So basically, when I was hired by Jagbir Singh and Badri Agarwal was a very tough, hard taskmaster, and people were really afraid of him. That is why Sunil gave him a charity, because he said, "Be a little soft. You are very hard." Jokes apart. I was given a task of making the One Airtel transport network, which was you have a mobility network and you have a fixed line network. And Badri Agarwal has his own empire, and so was Manoj Kohli. And it was good that time that everybody was talking like a profit center. However, not good from a One Airtel perspective that you need to converge your resources. So it was a tough task, not from the technical point of view, but from the political point of view, to make sure that you are able to. That was a real challenging task. And how to make sure that you align people, how to make sure that you sell your story, which is coming from other side. It was a very tough task. So I did that reasonably well. But it was awarded in a way that I got promoted. However, I got a title of CTO for enterprise services, which was basically don't own any network. However, you own a customer, which was a really very challenging task. How to make sure that you go to mobility network guys, how to make sure that you go to fixed line guys, and carve out of their business what they are doing as a business as usual, and get the resources, make a solution, and give that to enterprise customers. So, for example, it was a network which was for the income tax, which Sunil Mittal took it that time in 2005. But the challenge was how to take a bandwidth for mobility, because mobility had their own pay-as-you-grow model, and it was coming with Ericsson. The Ericsson guys will not give my network. And similarly, fixed line was a broadband. He has to sell his own customers. So how to give the bandwidth connectivity which is required for income tax? So that is where was the biggest challenge. And the third challenge was, while we did that couple of projects like SD-WAN for the state government, J&K Bank, a lot of big railways, for example, the challenge which was given that take out the network infrastructure because they are not helping you guys, take out the entire transport network and create a factory. That was Manoj Kohli's view, that don't call it network, call it a factory, minute factory, transport factory, access factory. So it was a challenge because people will very emotionally attached to their own network infrastructure, like the way the mother is, and take out their infrastructure, create an access factory, create a transport network factory, and operate them as a profit center. Not mobility, fixed line, enterprise or business. They don't own factories. And that was the biggest challenge. However, happy to say that I could contribute. I won't say that 100%, but 60-70% I was able to contribute. And that is why probably Manoj Kohli viewed my contribution.
Interesting.
Yeah,
so
my question.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, go ahead, Rohit.
Okay, thank you. So the next question on the line, that a lot of interesting thing happening in the telecom space in last 3-4 years with Jio coming, changing the business models, and now a lot of interest coming from international investors like KKR, Facebook, and now Google is also talking about, or at least the news are coming that Google is going to invest in the Vodafone Idea merger. So, like, how do you see in next 5 to 10 years the entire ecosystem in India of telecom players, the services being changing? Because still, I mean, honestly, since last 10 years, probably like where I've been using phone, there have been challenges where I've heard almost everybody said, "Yaar, aaj to network theek se nahi chal raha hai." Just a joke, but I mean, just trying to understand like how the industry is going to evolve, what are things going to happen, as you are expert in this domain. So your views.
So probably people are modest in saying that. And by the way, that's an excellent question. I'm glad that Rohit, you asked this question. So people are modest in saying network nahi chal raha hai because from last 5 years, there is a zero investment in 2G and 3G. So I'm really surprised that how the network is still able to cope the capacity. So people are quite justified in saying that. Let's take a step back. What has happened for from 2008 till now? So it was a voice domain dominated strategy, which Sunil Mittal started with. So just to give you a ballpark figure, that if there was a tower which has a capacity of 300 airline, which basically 300 people talking at the same time, the 3,60,000 rupees, the ROI was in 6 months. So where can you get a business which was giving you a free capex, no debt, and all that you can milk that for next 12 years. So even if you have 61 rupee per minute, and the cost of manufacturing is 12 paisa per minute, and after you are able to get away from the 3,60,000 of the capex, you are making money. So people lot of money on the voice model. However, in 2020, 2010, the data era came and everybody thought it's going to be the same model, the way the voice model. Unfortunately, because of the GSM 900, which was a very great model that you put 7 towers in Bhubaneswar, it will cover the entire Bhubaneswar. And it was a pleasantly surprised model. And so therefore you thought that capex is going to be $10,000. It actually was good enough within the $3,000. So your capex was less, your payout was more, and it boomed like anything, and people really made good fortune out of that. And you see that how Airtel made big money, and Idea Seller came and we copied with innovation and stuff like that we talked about. However, in the data model, because of the frequency of 2100, you have to put 4 times towers than what you used to put for the 2G, because it was more of a coverage model. So even if it was 1 lakh cost of putting one tower for 4G, you have to pay 4 lakhs. So as compared to 2,60,000, it is 4 lakhs. That is one. Second is that everybody thought that data will be big jump, but data wasn't a big jump because of the handset. There was no handset, so it didn't quite happen. So it was like there is a paddy field which has a big resources, but it is all unused. So there was the data, but people could not use it, and hence the 6 months period got into 2 years and 6 months. So therefore the business model went for a toss. Okay, so the data sort of kind of took a back seat. However, the government said, okay, let's milk these guys because still they are making a lot of money in voice, and the Jio guys came in 2010 and they said the data next wave, and he really sensed it that digital is the word. Forget about voice. People, and that's a blue ocean strategy he took, and that said, let me. So that is where from 2010 the paradigm shift. Yahoos of the world, which will have a cloud. Okay, so all the network will be housed in the cloud. All the intelligence will be in the cloud, not with the connectivity. That is the second segment. The third segment is the last mile, which is basically software as a service. So there'll be a play between the Accentures of the world, the Tech Mahindras of the world, the TCS of the world, and they will have ability and flexibility to provide what end customer would need, and therefore software as a service will bind network as a service and the connectivity as a service. And how do you do that? Because you need a platform. So then the fourth segment is platform as a service. So people have realized that if you really want to go and go to the retail voice model, you need a platform. That is why the Jio platform and the WhatsApp platform is coming. And the good part is that there's a creativity model. You're not defining your voice model. You're not defining your data model. People are defining their own model. So like if you type anything in Google, it will give you the search engine automatically. So thanks to the AI and ML that in these platforms, if you are doing a creativity, that it stores. So there is storage device in these platforms, and then it will have its own machine learning language to understand and predict your own behavior. Next time you want to have a service, he will pop up and say, hey, you are Arvind Pandey. Last time you have done that. How about going and picking those services? This is 5% cheaper. This is 10% cheaper. This is what is your behavior. So people are defining your own creativity. People are defining their own digital model. And that's the model which is happening. That is why you see there's a big shift everybody, McKinsey, Bain, and everybody is talking about a platform as a service. So that is why you see there's a big investment which is coming to India, because there's a huge 900 million subscribers sitting on voice and connectivity. However, they will move to the digital world. That's where I think the big paradigm shift which is happening. I hope I've answered your question.
Yeah,
I think
perfectly
great.
well. I just a small follow-up question to this. So, like, how does the large segment of SME sector, I mean, which probably owns
is
like
the
more
large
than
group?
the SME sector, the small and medium
Okay.
enterprises. I mean, the large Indian sector where like the most of people are employed or who contribute a large amount to the Indian GDP sector. I mean, how they should change their business model? How should they prepare so that they can take the advantage of the digital India movement? I mean, a lot of the technology, as you said, the SaaS is coming, the platform as a service is coming. So, I mean, I know it's a very broad kind of question, but is there any directions, any guidelines for them which can help them even evolve their business model, be relevant in the next decade? I mean, anything insight from your side?
Excellent question, Rohit. You seems to be just put nail on the head. So that is what is happening because of the empowerment of the people. While those Geos of the world and Verizon of the world, AT&T of the world will focus on retail model. However, because of the system integrator, there is a huge market which is going to come on SME, micro SME as typically known as, which is like less than 100 crore kind of thing. So what is happening is in the US market that because of thanks to the cyber security and thanks to the edge cloud. So you must have heard, I hope it is not too technical. Everything is, the intelligence is moving from the data center to the edge, and the concept
Right.
is known as data to device, D2D. So
D2D.
you are giving the data center power to the edge cloud, and that's why network as a service guys are putting edge data center, edge cloud data center, which basically means that with a it is not an IP security, it is an edge security. And if you are having your own cloud, which was the myth in case of cloud, people were not secure enough. If you have your own cloud, it could be hybrid cloud, private cloud, or public cloud. Nobody can introduce because you can put your own cyber security. If you do that and you have a device with a open standard interface, and you have a Tech Mahindra who can give you the software requirement, all those micro SMEs will with 100 to 20, which is what has happening in US, that the regional players or the small players which have got 2 to 5 people branches, they are connected to the universal customer premises equipment, and they are connecting with directly to the edge cloud. And that empowerment, something like I can't afford Taj Mahal with 20,000 rupees. However, I can afford for 2 hours paying 2,000 rupees and stay for, which is what I need for my own business. So that 20,000 rupees has gone to 2,000 rupees, and micro SME can enjoy the same service, same cyber security, and therefore get those services which was not possible for them. The reason why I'm saying is then the resources which was there for telco, Tech Mahindra, the world. So there is a
Combined.
double, which basically means that you create network first. You don't want people to come. It is not a Sunil Mittal model that you put a voice 6 months में हो जाएगा तब मैं टावर लगाऊंगा. यहाँ पे आपको capacity पहले create करनी है. And that is what Jio did. He created the capacity. He waited for 5 years till the time he created that big capacity, because user experience is very important. And he created that video streaming. Because of the video streaming, so that is one part of it. And he also, because of the handset barrier he created, so people jumped on that. That is one. Second important point is you have to give that empowerment to people. If you say, I will restrict your service, and even though I'm giving the 1 GB plan, but the moment you completely use your this one, I will start chalking your pipe. Will not work, because if the customer doesn't have a user experience, it will not be possible. That is one part of it. The second part is that he thought digital. He did not thought data. He thought service. You don't pay for pipe. Okay, you pay today. If we are in the Zoom, we are connected. We don't understand. I don't really care about what is the data pipe which is going. We'll kept on talking because that's something related to my business. But I will not be, if somebody asks me to pay double of that, but today if you say, oh, you have done your Zoom, you pay for it, otherwise I will shut that off. Doesn't work. So that is what I think is what the geo model is, and that is why he's talking about a infrastructure model. He says, I will create an infrastructure. I will create a digital world. I will not create a connectivity pipe. And if people will not get out of this syndrome, I think they will all set to fail. I mean, it looks very harsh, but that is the ground reality. I mean, every month, I would say every quarter, you make a loss of 6,000 crore rupees. So how can you have a ARPU of 110 rupees, whereas Jio is having 158 rupees, and is claiming that 158 rupees will go to 500 rupees in next 2 years. So he'll make money, not the guys who's thinking create a connectivity pipe and all that. That will not work. That is just probably fundamental thing, which is why he could clock a lot of data in Bihar. So it is not the volume, it is the service you need to think about.
So his each DTS each ETS connected to ISP pipe. That is why he's able to give it.
Oh, so I missed your question. So
how did it create such big?
So first of all, whether it is, I mean, let's take a step back. It is not fixed line or mobility. You say data traffic comes from where? 85% traffic of what I talked about comes from nomadic mobility. Okay, you don't do a video streaming when you're driving a car. You don't do a video streaming when you're walking. You do a video streaming when you are geostationary or nomadic mobility. So whether it is a broadband or whether it is mobility, the traffic will come from mobile, and that is why you can see in 3 months, the traffic shifted to 35% because everything is coming from the nomadic mobility. People are working from home. And so that is one data point. The second data point is whether it is fixed line or broadband, it is the service differentiation. So if today, because of the broadband, which is based upon the Wi-Fi, if I'm getting interference, which is not helping me to drive my latency, drive my carrier grade network, the mobility will find its own play. And which is why you see the 4 to 5 hours online per day has increased. However, the Wi-Fi has increased only 10 to 15%. However, the mobility has increased to 30%, which basically makes me think that you need to have a carrier grade network. And most importantly, that everybody is willing to pay for more as compared to the Wi-Fi if he's getting a good quality of service. And 5G is that is the fundamental model which mobility will start overriding to the broadband, where you pay for device to device, not from device to custom man. And if you want to have a medical surgery in UK and people are paying to pay 10 lakh rupees for 1 hour, where your latency is 2 milliseconds, why would not use a mobility service? And that is what is the basic fundamental model. And we will also think about what the